Yeah. Early morning, dude, the track is calling loud. Another sunrise mission standing out.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Wisdom Coaches podcast hosted by the Legacy Track Club. Coach Falting, it's been a few days since I've seen you.
Literally, like 2 days.
That's it. Yeah. I understand I dodged all the bad weather.
Yeah, we say the phrase a lot of times, motivated runners find a way. Today we might have found our way to weightlift during a tornado storm. It was crazy. The radar showed about 15 minutes of stuff and it turned into like just rain apocalypse.
Wow.
We had about 30 kids show up, get in the weight room, get after it in there, do some stuff in the hallways, limited spaces. And I was very proud of these kids for stepping up and finding something to do instead of an excuse to not do things.
That's great. Yeah, send some of that our way. We're just all on fire here. So could use a
This
little
is
bit of
the
rain.
the rainiest summer we've ever had, which has kept the weather kind of cool, which means August is just going to be a furnace when it's time to like crank it up, get ready for racing and stuff.
Well, it was definitely not cool when I was there last week, which is, probably the case because it didn't rain at all. So as many of you probably heard on the last podcast, Coach Falting and I had a little bet, a little wager on the Firecracker 5K. So he had asked if I was gonna be capable of beating his youngest son, Declan Falting, who's gonna be a freshman at Parkway High School this year. Just started getting the train with his dad. And so that was the wager. And poor Declan was having a heck of a time last week.
Yeah, so he broke out in hives like before the race, and I don't know if that was an allergic reaction to something or if that was maybe a little bit of nervousness, for the race. Because I think he took our wager kind of serious, and I'm sitting here telling him, I was like, it's the bet for everyone that knows was who was going to buy who breakfast at Denny's.
Yeah.
So if Declan won, Rabo's going to buy me the Grand Slam for 12.99. If Rabo won, I'm returning the favor and stuff. And so yeah, Declan kind of set himself up for a little bit of adversity. But man, the dude, I mean, he PR'd for 5K by 9 minutes and 26 seconds.
Yeah, it was insane. I didn't know what I was expecting him to do. I figured it was going to be close. I did tell him, run your own race, don't get caught up, but don't try to go out with me or don't try to, just do your own thing and let the chips fall where they may. That's what I was going to do. I wasn't going to go out and like try to sit and kick on Declan. Hey, I didn't know if I could sit and kick on Declan. But yeah, I was 1 week post Leadville Marathon, so I wasn't really sure how I was going to do. And then it was very humid that morning. And so, needless to say, it just about came down to the wire. I think I was ahead for the entire race, but I think if we'd have given Declan another tenth of a mile, I would not have won that bet.
That's what he said. He said, Rabo told me if it had been 3.2, I'd have got him, Dad.
Yeah.
So he PR'd by 9:26. He really needed to PR by 9:34 is what it turns out. He lost to
Mhm.
Rabo by 8 seconds. But this is the biggest race in North Louisiana every year. They get about 2,500 runners. The top 100 males and the top 100 females win a mug, and they're pretty cherishable. People love the mug. And not only did Declan get in the top 100 males, he actually got top 100 overall. He finished 93rd in the entire race. And so I'm not sure if that bet doesn't exist that happens. I think that was a nice little motivating factor to like go after something that might have been a little more out of his reach if he'd have thought about it. And so it was exciting, like in my book, the word compete, we talk about that it's Latin for with, go with and stuff. And so you being here in town and making that bet gave Declan somebody to go with,
Mm.
which in turn made him go faster and stuff. And so that's what you're looking for out of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did great. I did tell him afterwards, I was like, hey, this is the only time I'll ever beat you. So, yeah. So yeah, I could come back down here the next 3 years and it ain't happening. But like, yeah. It was good. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad he recovered from it and ran a great race. I was hoping, when you told me that morning at Highs, I was like, man, we just broke Declan. He's gonna go out here and have a rough day, and I'm gonna feel terrible. But no, he stepped up and he ran well, and it wasn't the only faulting that ran well. It was a good day for the faultings.
Yeah, yeah. So it turns out not a PR, but he was a little upset that I didn't promote that it was his Firecracker PR. So I think Gabe knocked about 21 seconds off of his Firecracker PR. But Gabe and his best friend slash senior on my team slash kind of an adopted child in this house, Brennan Robin, they tempo ran to a championship tie. They both went 15:44, fist bumping as they crossed the line, and then they just allowed the chip reader to determine the victor. And at the time, it went to the thousandth, and it went to Gabe Falting. So Gabe Falting is the first Falting to ever win the Firecracker 5K, followed by Brennan Robin, who had the highest ever PXC finish in a 5K. And then, as a fun little side fact, the girl winner, Izzy Russell, is also from our town, ran at the rival school, Benton, and her and Gabe are both Sunbelt Conference runners. So the Sunbelt Conference dominated the Shreveport, Louisiana Firecracker 5K.
Was well represented.
That's right.
And then you have a fun thing you do where it's your current runners versus alumni as well, kind of a team scoring thing. Is that
That's true. So we what we do is we just remove everyone else from the Firecracker and we score it head to head, current runners versus alumni runners. And I'll be darned, for the first time in the history of us doing this, the alumni clutched up. They with Gabe getting first, Drew Kent was third overall when we just compare Parkway to them. I think he was fourth overall in the meet, but third once we took out the runner. And then 2000, let's see, class of 2005 alumni,
hmm
Michael Haydell got in the mix there. Class of 2008 alumni, Michael Birch got in. I mean, they were putting some moves on there and stuff, you
Yeah.
know. My assistant coach, Brinson Delacruz, actually would end up being the sixth fastest runner for the alumni, and he dang near PR'd for the Firecracker and stuff. So
Yeah.
the alumni they were excited about this one, and they went for it, you know. So
Yeah.
good for those guys.
Yeah, Brinson, one of our Legacy Track Club runners as well. Yeah, he had a great day out there. He's been a little injured, having some cross training and stuff like that, and so I was very impressed by what he was able to do with just some of the amended training we've been giving him lately. So
So it's a fun time. It's my favorite race day of the year. It's no stress, but there's a lot of great things that happen from it, and it's a place where you saw me throughout the morning just hugging all these different people that used to run for us. I laugh. I got a lot of hugs from kids who like hated running cross country for us, complained all the time. And now when they don't have to run it, they pay money and run it for fun. And they're out there just enjoying the Firecracker. And some of them run faster at the Firecracker than they did in high school. And I was like, you hated this. And now they're like, I love it now. It's fun.
yeah, it's like you have to read The Great Gatsby in high school and you absolutely hate it. Then you go back a few years later and you're like, this book's not too bad when someone's not like making me do it. Like,
The Great Gatsby. I've not gone back and reread that one, so I'll probably keep that streak alive.
no, no, not a bad streak to have. Well, speaking of streaks and the people who do them, we you got a little bit of a early viewing of we'll call it cultural phenomenon that's about to happen. So for those of you, everyone here knows we did an entire episode on it, but I ran the Leadville 100 last year and might not be aware that for the basically that entire year leading up to it, we were recording runs, workouts, interviews, races. And so over the last 11 months at this point, I've been putting this together into a documentary, and which is going to be getting released next Friday. We're going to have a free viewing if you're in the Colorado Springs area and you are listening to this show. First off, hello. Um, Reach out to me sometime. Second of all, you should come out and check this out. And for those of you who don't live in Colorado Springs, it will be going up on YouTube probably the day after the viewing. And so it is we were thinking it was going to be around 90 minutes, and it turns out it's about a 2 hour long documentary. It's a feature length, which I was excited about. One of the things that I do frequently, especially like going into a race like Leadville or some of these hundreds, is find documentaries or videos that others have made. And there's a ton that are like influencers or really fast runners, and they're typically a little quick 30 minutes, and it's tough to fit that much. I mean, our documentary, the race is an hour. And so it's tough to get a good glimpse of what that race is in 30 minutes. And so very rarely do you find a good running documentary like this that's like an hour and a half or 2 hours long. So I think that kind of helps it stand out. But um yeah, without giving too much away, what were
Yeah.
initial thoughts
So
from you?
first off, truly honored to get the sneak peek. I think only your wife beat me to it,
Yeah,
and only by like a day.
yeah,
And stuff. And so, but the Falting family, Gabe, Declan, my wife Connie, and then Brinson came over and Rabo, and we got to watch this. And yeah, so I scour Amazon to watch every running documentary I can find. And first off, the quality alone of this documentary is amazing. I'm still trying to figure out how y'all filmed some of the running, because I know there were times where you were using a GoPro,
mm,
but there are other times where it's like this can't have been filmed with a GoPro, and I don't know how somebody was running where you were to film this,
yeah,
and so or who set up the camera to. But the quality there is amazing. And then a lot of times when you watch some of these self-produced documentaries, you the sound quality's bad. There's no music in the background. Those kind of things. I mean, this is like tremendous. Like there's a soundtrack basically to this, and not just like, hey, there are some major songs that show up in this, like "What Does the Fox Say," which you'll have to watch the documentary for that to make sense. But there's actual like generated music for this as well that's unique to the documentary and stuff. And so like that alone was amazing. The story flowed incredibly well through the journey. Like you never get really bored. I'm a guy at my age, like I fall asleep during regular movies. I fell asleep during Project Hail Mary, and my kids were mad at me for that because I mean it's going to win the Oscar, and I fell asleep during it and
yeah,
stuff. But this, I mean, a running documentary about a 100-mile race, and y'all kept it captivating. And then the last thing I would critique, and it's going to be weird when I say this because of the phrasing, but the cast of characters in this production is absolutely amazing. Like, and they're not. I mean, they're real human beings. They're not playing a character,
yeah,
but the collection of your wife and idiots that get you through this is so much fun. Like you're rooting for the side cast as much as you are for the hero of the journey here and stuff. And I'm like, this isn't you didn't script this. This is just how these people
yeah,
sound.
yeah.
But
It's you meet some characters, especially distance runners are just weird. And you've coached distance running for 20 years, and so you know this better than anybody. I mean, it takes a certain individual to be willing to go out and run for an hour at a time and do it in bad weather and stuff like that. And even more interesting individuals who will go out and a couple of those individuals were ultra runners, and they may have been the most normal of the of my cast and crew, which is kind of saying something. But no, that's I know exactly what you mean, and it's very funny to say that. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and twist your thing there and say that we're as good as an Oscar nominated movie since it kept you awake and the Oscar nominated movie did not. So
well, I will say, so y'all borrow a specific thing from Netflix that I'm like, Netflix should pick this up and stuff. And so any of y'all that have watched any of the Netflix documentaries they've come out with lately, so they'll show like a scene of something, they'll get you captivated, and then they'll film like an empty chair, and a guy will come sit in the chair and then start exposing whatever is happening and stuff. And I mean, lo and behold, Adam Rabo just walks to this empty chair, sits down, fixes the mic like he's on Netflix, and goes. And then throughout the movie, it's like, here's the chair with the map behind it and the people sitting in there, giving the commentary. And I was like, this is exactly what Netflix does, only a little
Yeah.
bit better.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, maybe we'll get on that. And that was part of it was it was really funny because and you probably noticed many points without. And if anyone's listening to this, you already know the outcome of this because you've likely heard it on the podcast. I mean, I sit down with my belt buckle on, so we're not really giving anything away to an eagle-eyed viewer, but we were trying to create moments of tension, and there were moments of tension, but it was really funny whenever I was talking with Travis, who is the individual who filmed the most of this and edited all of it. When especially he was kind of making there's kind of an intro that we originally sent out as the trailer, and he was just like finding, I was trying to kind of play. There was a few parts where I talked about, it was difficult or this or that, but like honestly, it's probably the ultra that's gone the best for me, and I talk about that during the ultra. And so he's like, it was so tough to find just like film sections of you. Like there's one where like I kind of have this like grimace on my face, but he's like, I literally had to cut it after like 3 seconds because you immediately after that just start smiling and laughing. And I was trying to make it look foreboding. And so yeah, it was fun and interesting getting to kind of, do that. We had an idea of like shots we wanted and stuff like that. And like so we're gonna have to have a direct, a Justice League Snyder director's cut that's gonna be 4 hours long because we left a lot of stuff out of that we did have to make sure that, like you said, it was flowing well and pacing well and things like that.
so I like, y'all took advantage of something that has existed for years, but I haven't seen it in a documentary. And that's like the Strava map, like that
Hmm.
traces your run.
Yep.
And so several of Ravo's races are in this documentary, but they take full advantage of the video that's created on the Strava run,
Yeah.
and integrate it into the documentary in a very creative way, in a way that helps expose. Like during the Leadville segments, I mean, my wife was sitting in the chair, and it would switch to the Strava run, and you could see the elevation change on the Strava run as you're going like up a mountain.
Hmm.
That the video alone would have never done that justice.
Yeah.
And so that was a really cool way. Like we're almost all kind of like you're riding to the top of the roller coaster ride. Like we're all like,
Yeah.
breathing heavy, like, oh my God, like how in the world and stuff. And so that was a cool little thing y'all added to the documentary that I haven't seen before in one of those, and taking advantage of something that people see on the regular that are in the running community, but doing it in a really cool, unique way.
Yeah, that was kind of boring. Part of it was, the Leadville itself, and I was like, hey, this would be a great way to fill in. I have this, we can run it, and kind of the idea was go and then zoom in on the part where you can kind of get an idea. And it was really funny again because I'm filming myself while I'm running it, and then Travis is doing things. And when he was editing it, he was just laughing. He's like, it'd be perfect because you'd be like, oh, I'm right here, and he's like, oh, okay, like I know exactly where this is because he just told me like. So I'm like narrating it almost to people, but it's also making it so easy for him to edit. And then for other races, like the marathon, I didn't bring the GoPro with me on the like a marathon. Like I'm going light, I'm going fast. I don't bring a cell phone with me.
Right.
Like it's as minimal as it can get. And so for some of those races, we just didn't have footage during the race, but we still kind of wanted to showcase a little bit of that. And so I was like, well, we can like put this on here, and it's showing kind of the race profiles, so like Mesa Marathon and things like Desert Rats and some of those other races. Travis actually did come out to the Royal Gorge, and we got some film there and stuff like that. But it was, I agree, it was something cool I haven't really seen people utilize before, and I was just like, man, this is just seems like a no-brainer to me that we can just pull this and bring it in. On the soundtrack, the funny thing is that I didn't realize this, but it's actually going to hamstring us on a couple of things. So like we were talking about getting it into film festivals, and so
Yeah.
Travis was telling me just yesterday, is like we're going to have to redo the entire soundtrack because some of the stuff, as you mentioned, like was music playing in the background. So for instance, the morning of the race, Daniel comes on and puts on like Green Day, and so like we can't use that because that's like somebody
Right.
else's. We don't have the
Have to
rights to
license
play
that.
Green Day. Yeah. At the end, it has us doing Rock Band, which like that might be usable because that might be fair use. I used to teach that when I taught computer stuff. I'd have to, but even, a lot of the music he got was like royalty-free music. He's like, but once you put it into something that is like going to a film festival, then like you have to own the rights to the music. And if it's royalty-free, you don't own the rights to it. You're just using it like with a license kind of thing. And so we are wanting to get it in some festivals, and so that's something where we are likely going to have to like get on GarageBand or some other stuff and probably score a lot of it ourselves. Which Travis has got a music background as well, so that's something that we'll probably have to do over time
I,
as we're
I'm
getting it
just throwing
ready.
this out here. We have a legacy theme song
We
that
do.
we own the rights to that could maybe sneak its way in there,
That
maybe.
100%. We'll just swap Green Day out for that.
I
No
mean,
one will
that's
have any.
that's pretty close,
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like if we were on the radio, we'd be getting some Emmy nods too, or
yeah.
whatever it is,
Legacy Track
Grammy
Club,
nods. Yeah,
Dookie.
yeah. Just say, legacy, legacy.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was and then like, same thing with YouTube, which I didn't know because I was like, oh, we'll put it on YouTube, we'll get a ton of views, maybe we'll get some money. And he's like, no, you have to have your channel monetized now. And he's like, so like you have to have a channel with this many subscribers and this many views to get any like you can't just have one video that blows up and then like make money off of it. They were like, we're gonna make this as difficult as possible for people to like make money. And so things I'm like getting to find out along the way. But no, it was a great experience. I'm glad you got to enjoy it. Apparently we're releasing the same weekend as a small little indie film called The Odyssey. Which
Yeah.
although yesterday apparently they dropped their trailer, which we dropped our trailer yesterday as well, and ours did not get 100,000 dislikes. I'm just throwing that out there. So
I feel like, you and I have probably upset Christopher Nolan at some point in our careers. And so maybe this is the grudge he's been holding on to,
this is
and
it.
stuff. Like, I just imagine that like one time, like he went and like hit on Shane or Connie, like in a bar or something, and they turned him away. And he's like, oh, these guys will get their uppance one day, and so now he's coming after us in the middle of our our book drop, our movie drop, our success in the Firecracker. Like, I mean, what I get it. There's something to be jealous of a little bit there. What's he done lately?
That's right. Yeah. It's
Tenant.
gonna be this is gonna be his biggest flop of all time. You heard it here first.
That's just
I
make $200
guarantee
million
you.
gonna be a flop.
Oh man, yeah, right. Well, speaking of celebrated geniuses, you're about to go and get to be the marquee speaker at a major event. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I don't know how this happened. So I got an email one day from a guy associated with the Glazer Clinic, and he was like, "Hey, would you, be interested in we do this virtual clinic in the end of July. We're looking for some coaches to speak. Would you be interested in speaking in our like cross country / distance room?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I'm assuming this went out to like thousands of coaches. And so they're like, fill out this form and we'll get back to you. So I fill out this form and tell them, like, here's what I would like to present about if I get picked or whatever. And lo and behold, only 4 of us got picked. I'm the only high school coach. One of BYU's assistant coaches is presenting at
Oh
this.
wow.
Yeah, it's like a who's who of people. And then me, it'd be like if you zoomed in on 3 heads of Mount Rushmore and then like zoomed down to the guy that was getting ready to go up there and like polish it. It's like everybody had a role, but it's a little different and stuff. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of like a what's the word? You know,
Imposter syndrome?
an imposter, yeah, like a little imposter complex there. Like, do I really belong in this group or whatever? But I'm on the flip side, I'm so excited to get to be presenting for this. So it is a free clinic. You can go to glazerclinics.com. It is going to be July 24th and 25th. They're actually doing it for several sports. So if you coach anything and you're interested in it, they've got tennis, swimming, cross country, track and field. I think they're doing football. So there's a lot of stuff there. I'm doing 2 sessions back to back on Friday the 24th. I think at 8:30 and 9:30. And so the first one Ironically, when I signed up for this was before the book had dropped, but it's about training for the 1600 meters. And a lot of what I talk about comes from the book Mile Set. So if you haven't bought the book yet, you can get a good taste of the book in this presentation and then go back and get more in depth with the book. And then there's a chapter in the book where I discuss kind of this shift we made in strength training. And so my second presentation is on like strength and supplemental training, and people can kind of see the shift that we have taken in terms of trying to make strong distance runners and how we go about doing it. So I'll be doing those two presentations July 24th in the morning. And yeah, I'm super pumped, man. Like, like I like presenting information on this. I like all the stuff we do. I mean, the fact we just podcast, I get excited for and stuff. And so hopefully this is a new medium for some people to hear what, the Legacy Track Club has to offer and maybe get people more excited about the book, the movie, our training programs and those kind of things and stuff. So I'm pretty excited about this.
Absolutely. That sounds fantastic. I was about to ask if you're going to have a bunch of books there with you, and I'm like, oh, it's virtual. He's not going to be able to be there at a table with a bunch of books. But yeah, maybe I'll see if I can join that day. Maybe I can get in there and throw some softball questions in the chat. Just like
How many state titles did you
yeah.
win? What's your fastest guy's time? Thanks, I
What's your
appreciate it.
what's your record?
What's your record? For those of y'all that don't know, we had a kid on our high school newspaper staff who came to our basketball coach to ask him in an interview what his record was. And we had to explain to him how to pronounce that word in two different ways. So I think that's what a homophone or something like that. Or
Yeah.
is the same word but phonetically pronounced two different ways.
The fun of the English language.
That's right. But no, man, I'm pretty pumped. I've spoken at clinics over the years. I like being on the clinic circuit. I wish I could do it more. One of the things I really like is going to speak at clinics and bringing some of the books that we've written over the years to the clinic to get people more exposure to stories from kids that we've coached.
Yeah.
Stuff. So yeah, if this were like front and center, I'd be bringing a stack of Mile Set and Cross the Finish Line with me. Instead, I'll have to save that for the next time. Hopefully, maybe I impress somebody with this presentation. I get to speak in a different state and go
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, we'll have to see if you get a little lift in sales too right after the presentation. I'm sure you gotta at least throw the book in there for a second and be like, and you can read all about this. And
The crazy part about being like self-published, even though it's on Amazon, is like I really think this is a good book. Like the people that
yeah,
have gotten their hands on it have read it and give me some crazy good feedback. Like, I mean, coaches that have coached some athletes way superior to my athletes have read this and been like, man, I really got something out of this. But you go online, it's like I sold 2 books today. I sold 5 books today. Like I'm hoping that at some point there's enough of the people like I really liked this book and are telling somebody that we can get this in a lot of people's hands because I do think it would make an impact on runners and coaches.
yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, good deal, Coach Falting. Well, I think that's all we got for the day. As Coach Falting mentioned, he does have his book out. He's got multiple books. You can find these on the Legacy Track Club website, or you can go to Amazon as well. I think if you go to Amazon and type in Kent Falting, he actually has an author page
I do.
with all of his books listed there. So you can find links to those, or if you check out Legacy Track Club on Facebook or Instagram, or we should have a post there as well. You'll also be able to find links to the trailer to the documentary, and then, like I said, probably on the 18th of July, a link to the YouTube video that we will have posted on there and to watch the trailer as well. So I encourage you to check out both of those. And then, yeah, set your calendar. July 24th, Coach Falting will be speaking at the Glacier Clinic, and I'm sure we can get a link to that from him and add that into our YouTube section so that people have access to that, and that
Absolutely.
way we can check it out. So,
So
all
yeah,
right.
I mean we're excited. Thank y'all for listening again. Keep coming back for more.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Be sure to check out the Legacy Track Club on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then make sure you're checking out the Wisdom of Coaches on YouTube and Spotify. So we will catch you guys next time.
Peace.
Watch our dedication grow. Oh, legacy, legacy, running through the night, chasing down the sunrise, fading golden light. Every step a story, every breath a prayer. Legacy Track Club, we conquer every care.